So I started to look around on the internet the other night, and I was drawn back to one of my posts that I made here back in February, and I said July 5th and July 6th with the crystal balls coming to a theater near you. And of course, it like doesn't like people are like, what the hell does that mean? And so I'll tell you how I found these dates, the 5th and the 6th. The 5th and the 6th are the exact midpoint between this next set of solar eclipses here in 2024. So we just went through the April 8th one, and the October 2nd one is the very next solar eclipse. And so between those two periods, you have 177 days. And if you take 177 days, divide it into two, it gives you that 88. Like that we've been seeing a lot of 88s or 2-8, you know. That midpoint there, July 4th, July 5th, is 88 days between the eclipse, the exact midpoint between this new set of eclipses that we're on. And at first, I'm like, okay, well, we'll see what happens. I don't really know if there's going to be anything that will happen. It's just that we have seen this happen in the middle of eclipses. The Bitcoin ETF got approved. Ripple got sued by the SEC, and so like, well, what's happening in July? So it became weird to me when all of a sudden I was, looking around and every single thing that I saw was starting to point towards July. This is a post by Coins Kid here, and he says, I have had a theory for many years now that we would see the end of this cycle in July this year. I have made many videos on it in the channel over the years. I did say if we do see an all-time high for Bitcoin before the halving, then I think my theory will play out. Basically saying I wish you all the best of luck, but remember I'm looking to exit if we see it. And so I was like, okay, July again, and then I'll play this clip here from Blockchain Backer real quick.
And I've goofed off with this in videos and in live streams. I don't know if it's going to play out like that, but even if you did and you moved at that velocity and we printed some massive epic bubble, when does it conclude? It concludes over here in July. That's only 3 months away.
So again, July. And I'm like, okay, well, this is getting kind of weird. And then there was this video shared with me this morning from Camel Finance.
Also, as you know, for Bitcoin, I've been saying, it's right until it's wrong. If we spend a little bit more time, find that 60-day consolidation cycle low, and then start to fire off into a third angle and top sometime around July, August, like I expect.
So again, another person pointing out July. It gets even crazier because this video from Jeremy Hogan.
So I would say that based on what we've seen so far in the case, that the final judgment will come out this summer. I'm guessing July, maybe August. And then whatever the ruling, I think both sides file notices of appeal, and the case heads up to the DCA appeals court and is ruled on next year.
So not only do we have these kind of perspectives kind of coming together with like what the charts look like, it's also kind of what Jeremy Hogan was saying. It's like it looks like this legal case with XRP is going to come to a conclusion around July as well. And that's when I really started thinking, because it's like, well, that's the narrative that's fitting in with all the price targets and everything coming up in the charts. And right about then, I stumbled into this picture posted by the original Ripple Riddler, and they've changed their name to 12,000 XRP for some reason, but it's the Ripple Riddler. So what we're going to do here is we're going to zoom in, and what we have here is a reverse image of CoinMarketCap. And what we can see here is that XRP has flipped Bitcoin, is the number one thing on CoinMarketCap. Now, this doesn't give a date or time, but obviously it presents the concept of the flippening, essentially. And everyone for years have thought it would be Ethereum, if anything, could flip Bitcoin. And nobody has really. It seems like a lot of people don't really think that XRP can do it, and that's probably by default. But that's what we're looking at here. XRP has hit the top position. So of course I have to think like, well, what kind of a narrative would drive that? And it would be exactly what Jeremy Hogan was talking about. It's the end of the lawsuit, and it causes it maybe to just for a second flip Bitcoin, which would cause a bunch of chaos and probably signal the top of the market, which XRP has never gone on a bull run by itself. It usually is always accompanied with Bitcoin being at that high anyway. So it's giving people something to point their finger at. And this concept of the flippening, so to speak, has been in our financial system since inception, essentially. Think of it as above, so below. And when you look at this symbol here, the Star of David, you have the as above right here, this triangle, and the so below. It points to the letters Mason, or the Freemasons. And so this is a topic for a different day, but our whole financial system goes into these more esoteric understandings, symbolism, all sorts of things, and so that's why when I look at these tweets like that are seemingly meaningless, and how it's has all these confluences with what other people are saying about the markets, and I don't overlook it. I keep thinking about that, and so with that in mind, I started to entertain it. Well, what would the price of XRP be if this happened? And so, first thing I did was I just kind of plotted a point up here, and it gave me a price of 123,000 for Bitcoin. And so, Bitcoin at $123,000 has a $2.4 trillion market cap. And so, if you take that $2.4 trillion market cap and divide it by the circulating supply of XRP, then you get a $44 XRP at the moment that it would flip it if it were to happen at $123,000. And this point right here, I mean, projections are projections, and nobody's going to know. But what I've done here is take a Elliott wave, and how you can figure out the fifth wave on an Elliott 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave structure is, well, you're going to have one wave that is extended, and it's usually this third wave right here. And this is what we've seen. We know it's extended because the first wave is shorter. And so what we have to do is we have to measure this first wave here to give us our projection. So this is how long the first wave is, and we move that up here to where the fourth wave ends, essentially. So assuming that our bottom is in, it gives us this kind of reach right here. And so this is where it's like, okay, right here it's saying August, so that's a possibility. But if it were to happen a little quicker, it's not impossible that this could happen in July. And so the Elliott waves are also giving this confluence of like July, August, something like that. And the narrative is the market's topping, Bitcoin's coming to this high level, and XRP flips it just for one moment in time because the lawsuit's over, or whatever they want to say. So then I also started to think that it was really weird that this price right here at 123,000 came in, because we have over the years seen bearable guy 1, 2, 3, and this also goes into the as above, so below concept, because we have 3, 2, 1 Ugelberry B or whatever, It's like they made the inverse of this little caricature thing. And, that got me thinking. And another thing I wanted to add here is that okay, so this says the as above so below thing says the paraphrase is based on one of several existing Latin translations of the Emerald Tablet, and Latin was also one of the things in the dollar. When I was looking at that phrase, it's all written in Latin, and if you own a ledger, your ledger has Latin written on it. It's vires and numeras, or whatever. It's strength and numbers. And so, like, we have all these Latin ties to the existing financial system, the esoteric side of it as well. This is sort of the idea. It's like all above is below. And we see that with the bearable guy. And then I started thinking also about these Christmas riddles and stuff that we've seen over the years. And everyone's thinking December, December, December. And then this last one came out. And it's like warm looking. They're in a greenhouse, so it could be winter, but we also can't really see outside. Seems a little bit like it's green outside as well. It's blue sky. And then there's Santa's sleigh over there. So it's like, I think you could also interpret this as Christmas in July. So, with all of that, I'm going to try to push us back in towards reality and give you another perspective. This is a trader. His name's W.D. Gann, and he was like one of the legends of the past. He had a lot of ways in which he traded that were like he paid attention to nature, like the planets, and kind of like the cyclical times of year, like the solstices and things like that. And one of the techniques that he used was to plot market extremes. And so, to show you what I mean by that, is this previous cycle here in Bitcoin. This is 2011. We have this line here in that November, and that marked like the low, the bottom of the market essentially. And that cycle then later in 2013 ended up having a cycle high in November. And right as the cycle is kicking off, it has this like June area. Like this area was probably really grindy. And then like this area right here is also in June. It's also like right as they're going into the depths of that correction. So it's like similar kind of vibe. And then we get into the 2017 cycle. So 2016, this is this January here. This is one of those real grindy kind of areas. And then like the top of the market, of course, comes December. Like it was like December, January essentially. The bottom of the market in 2018 also comes in like a December, January. So there's those three very consistent like times of year that it has each of those extremes. Then in the 2021 cycle, we have March of 2020, obviously the C19 sell-off, and then the top of the market comes in March. Then we had two big corrections happen. Let's see, this first one here was in May. This when the market started to get into the bear market. This one started in May. The bottom of the market comes in. It's November, and then we leave that same area. Well, we leave our grindy area kind of in like it was the last week of like October, so like November, October, very close. And then this is your automatic rally, and the top of that came in July. And so, what can we expect for this July? There's been enough people that are picking up on July for whatever reason, and even the legends of the past would tell you that July is probably something to pay attention to.